What's going on, everybody? We're back, and today we got some big news to discuss. As always, I'm going to keep you updated. Timestamps in the description down below. We're going to kick things off with some WWE news before we jump into AEW. Dave Meltzer talking about Kevin Owens. Now, basically, for those who may have missed it, maybe you're not aware, but there is some talk of Kevin Owens actually being legitimately injured. Now, in the event that he actually is injured legitimately, there is this belief going around that maybe he's not actually hurt that bad, but he is going to miss a little bit of time. Now, Dave Meltzer in the Wrestling Observer newsletter came out and confirmed that the tag team titles will not be on SummerSlam due to Kevin Owens getting time off due to a broken rib. The belief is that this is going to basically take Kevin Owens out of SummerSlam. Now, the big thing here is Kevin Owens is an absolute stud. So is Sami Zayn. But this is actually one of my biggest issues with having undisputed tag team championship belts. I'm going to be at SummerSlam. The tag team division needs work. So the idea that they're going to miss this match, they're not going to be on the card, I feel like WWE should vacate the belts. If you can't defend the belts, I feel like you should vacate the belts. That's really the issue here. The belts aren't split up. We'll see what happens. I love Kevin Owens. I love Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, but this isn't progressing the World Tag Team Championship division. And that's one of the biggest issues here. Definitely something to keep in mind as time goes on. This is just coming from Dave Meltzer. We'll see if WWE makes any sort of confirmation. But I do look at this as a big blow to the SummerSlam card. It's a massive show. And we're still not progressing the tag team division. Definitely an issue for me. Guys, we got to talk about some all-in plans because it looks like AEW has some for Will Ospreay. According to Fightful's New Japan Pro Wrestling sources, the plan that was revealed to them is Will Ospreay versus Chris Jericho at AEW All In. And somehow, some way, Don Callis will actually be a part of this as well, which makes a lot of sense. But at the same time, too, this is a little disappointing for me. The whole build for All In has actually been disappointing because there really hasn't been a build. That's one of the biggest concerns that I have about this entire show is AEW completely builds their pay-per-views last minute. This is literally a critique that I've had for the longest time, and it still continues to be an issue. The good thing is AEW All In is selling a lot of tickets regardless, so good on them, I guess. But it just sucks, as a viewer, I don't know how to get excited for AEW All In without knowing what they're actually building towards. The idea of Will Ospreay versus Chris Jericho makes a lot of sense. I mean, it's a rumored match that Chris Jericho has apparently wanted ever since he stepped foot in New Japan. It makes a lot of sense in that regard, but I feel like this is not going to be, and I could be wrong. I could definitely be wrong, but this is definitely not going to be one of those really quick, fast-paced, back-and-forth matches. I think this is going to be a little bit more methodical, a little bit more storytelling, and I think that's a good thing, obviously. That's a really, really good thing. So that's why I'm not completely against this match. I feel like it's going to be a good match. I just feel like what's the build, right? How are we going to get there? Does that make sense? I feel like that's one of the biggest concerns as I'm looking at AEW potentially going this route. I feel like for what their match could be and what their build could be, they just need to do a little bit more to get people excited about this. And again, it's just an AEW flaw of building things last minute. I don't like that, but Will Ospreay gets a massive singles match at All In. I love it. Obviously, he's going to get that hometown reaction too because they're in the UK. So it should be a really good thing. Guys, we got to talk about Roosh. Apparently WWE didn't make an offer for him. They wanted to, but apparently they didn't. And the reason why is because according to Dave Meltzer, it appears that AEW gave him an insane amount of money to stay within the company. Now, what is considered an insane amount of money? Truth be told, I literally have no idea because according to Meltzer himself, it looked like WWE was interested in bringing him in for NXT, and they decided not to give him an offer because the offer that AEW gave him was just so good. This is actually a flaw that I have with WWE. When it comes to signing people, I understand the idea is to bring people in through NXT, get them adapted to the WWE system and the way WWE works. But I feel like if you're a top free agent or a big free agent, if you're somebody who is a notable name in the free agency market, it would be nice to just immediately skip NXT. And WWE hasn't been doing this. And I feel like that's a deterrent. Roosh has not been booked well in AEW. Don't get it twisted. I do not believe his booking in AEW has been good. I truly believe it hasn't. But he was also signed for 1 year. You got to be careful, right? As a booker, it totally makes sense. You don't want to make this guy the number one guy in the company and then he just leaves, right? Because there was no security blanket there. There's no safety net. He could have left after 1 year. Now that he's actually committed for multiple years with AEW, the good news is AEW can push him, and there is that safety net. So I expect AEW's booking to improve over the next several months with Roosh. I would make him a very integral part of Collision as well. But WWE wanting to bring him in, bringing him in straight to NXT, I don't like that, man. I don't like that. I think some guys are just, they're good enough, they're experienced enough to where they don't have to be in NXT, man. So I think that's going to be a deterrent for a lot of free agents. But WWE wants to do it the WWE way, and there's very, very few exceptions, and that's where we get to that big issue. But nonetheless, Roosh is staying put. You know who else is staying put? The Elite. Now, keep in mind, months and months ago, there was actually a serious belief that WWE could potentially bring in the Elite to the company. But now, Dave Meltzer himself is coming out saying there is a very big belief that they are all staying with AEW. There was a lot of talk about AEW potentially losing out the Elite, maybe losing Kenny, maybe losing Hangman, maybe losing the Bucks. Look, Tony Khan, about to get this massive TV deal. You got to retain your top talent. It would not be a good look for AEW at all to lose these guys. And, yeah, basically Meltzer's coming out pretty much telling us what we all know. A lot of people in WWE more than likely believe that they're staying put as well. And it makes sense. It does. You take the Elite out of AEW, you pretty much don't have AEW. And you can tell how much it hurts the show when they're not on the show because, well, you can listen to the fan feedback. When the Elite aren't on TV, people don't like that. So Roosh staying put with AEW is massive, but also at the end of the day, Roosh is not make or break to the AEW product. The Elite, they are make or break to the AEW product. Imagine they lost Cody and now all of the Elite. That would have been a major, major problem. But now that doesn't appear to be the case. It looks like they're staying put. We'll see what happens next in the world of pro wrestling. If you guys want more videos, go ahead and click subscribe, and I'll see you next time.